Ex-husband begging for reconciliation and asking me to be a maid, offering living expenses and telling me to mind my own business? Fine. I used to put up with his mother and son making things hard for me, and watching him be all lovey-dovey with his mistress. In the end, when the family fell apart and I asked for help to save his mother, he was off celebrating his mistress's birthday. Now, all I care about is money. If he wants to have late-night heart-to-hearts, he needs to pay. If my son breaks a dish, he has to compensate. If the mistress causes trouble, I settle the bill. Love died a long time ago, and marriage is just a transaction with a price tag. The funny part is, now they both regret it. When Joe Yan found me, I was haggling with a scrap collector over a few kilos of cardboard. He made a face and said, "Let's get back together, as long as you don't manage everything like before. And you'll get your monthly living expenses on time." I looked at the $250 I had in my hand and immediately threw the cardboard away. As long as there's food, being a mute maid is no problem. After we remarried, I never checked his phone again. Even if he transferred money to other women in front of me, I acted like I didn't see it, and even asked if he needed more money. When my mother-in-law threw the food on the table and picked at it, I didn't say a word, just cleaned it up and made her a fresh meal. When my son hid his failing grades, I didn't scold him. I just signed his name for him. The whole family said I had become more virtuous. But Joe Yan woke me up in the middle of the night. He smelled of alcohol, and his voice was shaking. "Wife, do you not care about this family anymore? You're not like this before. Before was before, and now is now. Want to know the answer? First, pay the consultation fee," I said, pulling out my phone and showing him the payment QR code. Joe Yan froze. He probably thought I was playing some kind of game. The old Shen Qing once treated money like dirt, only caring about one person's heart. Now, Shen Qing treats Joe Yan like dirt and only cares about money. He furrowed his brows and slapped my phone out of my hand. "Shen Qing, have you got money on your mind? Do you want money from me?" I calmly picked up the phone, checked the screen for cracks. And once I confirmed it was fine, I looked up at him. "Mr. Joe, the contract is very clear." I pointed to the remarriage agreement on the nightstand. "Living expenses are living expenses. Extra services are another matter. It's 3 a.m. now. Consider this overtime." Joe Yan was so mad he laughed. He took a wad of bills from his wallet and slammed it in my face. The sharp edge of the paper cut across my cheek, stinging a little. But I didn't flinch. What's wrong with money? I don't have a problem with money. I picked up the bills, counted them, and found 3,000. "Thanks, boss." I tucked the money under my pillow, lay back down, and in a sweet tone asked, "Would the boss still like some service? This 3,000 includes a half-hour massage or 10 minutes of listening to complaints." Joe Yan looked like he had swallowed a fly. He stared at me for a long time, then finally cursed, "Crazy woman," and turned over to sleep with his back to me. I stared at his back, my mind calm. As long as the money's right. Forget calling me crazy. I'd even admit to being crazy if he paid me for it. The next morning, I was woken by the noise downstairs. My mother-in-law's loud voice pierced through. "Where's the broom star? The sun's already up, and she's still not up cooking. Does she think just because we remarried, she's the lady of the house?" I immediately threw off the covers, got out of bed, and didn't even have time to wash up before running downstairs. In the kitchen, my mother-in-law was standing with her hands on her hips, complaining. When she saw me, she threw the rag she was holding at me. "If you don't want to work, then leave. We don't support freeloaders in the Joe family." It was the rag she had just wiped the stove with, greasy, leaving a large stain on my cotton nightgown. I looked down, said nothing, and then turned to put on my apron, starting to wash rice and chop vegetables. Seeing that I didn't retort or cry, she felt like she had hit a cotton pillow, which made her even more displeased. She walked up to me and sarcastically said, "Wow, not saying anything now? You used to talk so much. You said you married Joe Yan for love, not for money. Now what's this? The tail's out? You're doing this for money and don't even care about your face?" My hand froze mid-chop. Indeed, in the past, when I heard such things, I would feel wronged and cry, and try to explain my true feelings. I would look at Joe Yan, hoping he'd say something to help me out. But he never did. He would only stand by and watch coldly or say impatiently, "Okay, mom's old, just let it slide." Now, I still didn't say anything. I just silently calculated in my head. Washing clothes costs 50, special stain treatment costs 100. This nightgown cost 200. If it's ruined, I'll charge for depreciation. And then add in emotional damages. I made a note of it in my mental ledger for my mother-in-law. In the afternoon, Lin Wan Yu arrived. She wore the latest limited edition haute couture dress of the season and carried the Hermes bag I once really wanted, but Zhou Yan had said was impractical. She walked into the living room like she owned the place and sat down on the sofa. Wow, Sister Shen is cleaning? She looked at me, kneeling on the floor and scrubbing the tiles, and giggled. Sorry, I didn't know you were back. Otherwise, I would have asked Zhou Yan not to hire a maid. Miss Lin, you're too kind, I said lightly, taking people's money to do their bidding. Mr. Zhou pays well, so it's only right that I do this work. Lin Wan Yu's smug expression froze for a moment. Shen Qing, do you still have any dignity left? You used to be the eldest daughter of the Shen family, and now you're so cheap? The Shen family is gone. I calmly stated the fact. The eldest daughter still has to eat. As for dignity, I smiled. How much can a pound of dignity fetch? If Miss Lin wants it, I can sell it by the pound. Lin Wan Yu was so angry, she shot me a glare. She turned to Zhou Yan, who had just come downstairs, and immediately changed her expression to one of pitiful delicacy. Ah Yan, look at sister, is she not welcoming me? I told you I shouldn't have come. Zhou Yan walked over and naturally wrapped his arm around her waist. They started their lovey-dovey display in front of me. If I'd seen this scene before, my heart would have been in agony, and I would have wanted to rush over to tear them apart. But now? I just found it hard to watch. Besides, how am I supposed to clean with them hugging and kissing in the living room? Mr. Zhou, Miss Lin, I had to interrupt. If you need to continue your private conversation, I suggest going upstairs to the bedroom. The living room is a shared space, and according to the agreement, I'm here to clean. If it's inconvenient, I'll have to charge for the lost time. Zhou Yan's face immediately darkened. He let go of Lin Wan Yu and stared coldly at me. Shen Qing, do you think I won't throw you out? Of course you can. I nodded. But the penalty for breaking the contract is 500,000, as long as Mr. Zhou pays. I'll leave immediately. Zhou Yan was momentarily speechless. For our reconciliation, he had drafted this agreement through his lawyer, and every clause was extremely harsh, but the penalty for breaking the contract was set high to prevent me from running away. I never expected that it would become my safeguard. Lin Wan Yu saw this, and a sly glint flashed in her eyes. Ah Yan, don't be mad. She grabbed a vase from the table, Zhou Yan's favorite antique, and said, Sister is just trying to make a living. Let's help her out. Then, she let go. Crash. The antique vase shattered into pieces. Lin Wan Yu feigned surprise. Oops. My hand slipped. Sister, I'm sorry. I messed up your work. Zhou Yan frowned, but when he saw Lin Wan Yu's panicked expression, he didn't say anything. Clean it up, he ordered. I looked at the shattered pieces and, instead of being angry, my eyes lit up. This was a big opportunity. All right, I immediately pulled out my phone to take pictures as evidence. Cleaning an antique vase is considered high-risk work, and the shards are sharp and dangerous, so I'll charge a hazardous work fee. Additionally, the broken vase pieces are also trash, so there's a separate trash disposal fee. I calculated in my head, this job will earn me at least 200. Oh, no, it's a profit. I quickly fetched my tools and squatted down to start cleaning. As I cleaned, I hummed a little tune. Lin Wan Yu and Zhou Yan exchanged glances. Shen Qing, do you really not care at all? Zhou Yan couldn't help but ask. This vase was a gift I gave him when we got married. I spent all my savings to buy it after running all over the auction houses. I used to treasure it like crazy, and would get angry if anyone touched it. But now, it's broken. I looked up, somewhat confused. What's there to care about? Should I care that it's broken? Out with the old, in with the new, right? As long as Mr. Zhou doesn't make me pay for it, I'm fine. Zhou Yan clenched his fists. He stared at me, his eyes flashing with a look I couldn't understand. It seemed like anger, or maybe, panic? I didn't have time to figure out his emotions. After cleaning up the shards, I held out my hand. Mr. Zhou, 200, plus the tea fee from earlier, the total is 300. Zhou Yan gritted his teeth and spat out a word. Leave. Okay. Once the money was transferred, I immediately left. That night, Zhou Yan didn't go to see Lin Wan Yu off. Instead, he stayed home. He sat in the study, handling some paperwork. The door open. As I passed by, I saw him smoking, with the ashtray already full of cigarette butts. I turned around and went to the kitchen, slicing some fruit to bring in. Mr. Zhou, here's some fruit. Zhou Yan looked up at me, a flicker of hope in his eyes. You worried about me? I smiled. A fruit platter. $50. Mr. Joe, please remember to transfer the payment. The light in Joe Yan's eyes immediately dimmed. He slammed the papers down on the table. Shen Qing, is it just money that matters to you? Yes, I admitted calmly. I have nothing but money. Joe Yan stood up and slowly walked toward me. He cornered me against the wall, his hands pressed beside me, his presence overwhelming. If I gave you 10 million, would you say you love me? I paused for a moment. 10 million? In my mind, the numbers quickly calculated. 10 million would pay off all of the Shen family's debts, get my mom the best treatment, and set me up for life. Even if it meant a lie, it would be worth it. Sure, I didn't hesitate. Mr. Joe, cash or check? Joe Yan's face twisted in rage. He suddenly leaned down and kissed me. It wasn't the soft, gentle kiss from before, but one full of punishment, like a harsh bite. It hurt. But I didn't push him away. In my mind, I repeated, this is just a service. This is just a service. As long as the money is there, none of this matters. But as his hand started moving lower, I couldn't take it anymore and stopped him. Mr. Joe, I gasped. This isn't in the agreement. I need extra payment. Joe Yan froze. He stared into my eyes, looking for signs of passion, of confusion. But all he found was clear calculation. Get out. He shoved me away with such force that I slammed into the bookshelf, pain shooting through my back. Shen Qing, you disgust me. I rubbed my shoulder, keeping my head down. Disgusting or not, as long as the money is right, I don't care. I left the study. That night, Joe Yan trashed everything in the study. I could hear the noise from the other room and silently calculated how much I'd make cleaning up tomorrow. Joe Hao got into a fight at school. When the teacher called, Joe Yan was in a meeting, and my mother-in-law was playing mahjong. So it was up to me to go. At the school, a line of parents stood in the teacher's office. The kid who was beaten had a bleeding head, and their parents were pointing at Joe Hao, yelling. Joe Hao stood there stubbornly, silent, his clothes torn and his face marked with wounds. When he saw me, a flicker of panic crossed his eyes, but it quickly turned to disdain. What are you doing here? Who told you to come? Where's my dad? I ignored him and walked straight to the other parent. I'm Joe Hao's guardian. How much for the compensation? I took out my phone and set a price. The other parent was stunned. Probably never encountered a parent so direct. Medical fees, plus emotional damages, 5,000 at least, they demanded, opening their mouth wide. I nodded. All right, 5,000. I transferred the money directly to the teacher, asking them to pass it on and keep a receipt. Money's paid. Everything good? The other parent accepted the money, feeling something was off but couldn't figure it out. They grumbled and left. The teacher looked at me, hesitating. Mrs. Joe Hao, this isn't about the money, it's about the child's education. Teacher, education fees are separate. I interrupted. Mr. Joe hasn't paid me for this, so I'm not responsible for his education. I only handle the aftermath. With that, I turned and led Joe Hao out of the school. In the taxi, he finally couldn't hold it in anymore. Why don't you care about me? I looked out the window at the passing scenery and replied indifferently. To care about you, I'd need energy and emotions. I don't want to waste either on you. Joe Hao bit his lip. He started it. He called me a kid without a mom. He said I was a beggar. What he said was true. I smiled. I do look like a beggar now, and I really don't deserve to be your mom. Joe Hao froze. Tears suddenly fell from his eyes. Why didn't you argue with me? You weren't like this before. The old Shen Qing is dead. I handed him a tissue. Here, wipe your tears. They're not worth much. The fight compensation is 5,000, plus my running around fee of 500. Total, 5,500. I'll deduct it from your dad's account. Joe Hao slapped my hand away. Money. All you care about is money. Did you sell me too? If someone offers a high price, I might consider it. I joked. Joe Hao burst into tears. When we got home, Joe Yan had already returned. I sent him the bill. Fight dispute handling, compensation plus labor fee, total 5,500. Please reimburse me. Joe Yan was so angry he smashed his phone. Shen Qing, do you even have a heart? I picked up the phone. Thankfully it wasn't broken because of the carpet. Heart? That's too expensive. I can't afford it. That night, Joe Hao developed a fever. Probably from the shock and his wound infection. In the middle of the night, he was delirious, calling for his mom. My mother-in-law and Joe Yan were in a panic, but as soon as Joe Hao heard their voices, he cried out. Finally, Zhou Yan had to come and knock on my door. Shen Qing, go check on Hao Hao. He's calling for you. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. It's 2 a.m. now, night care fee, 1,000 per hour. Zhou Yan's eyes were red. I'll give it to you, just go check on him. I got the payment notification and went into Zhou Hao's room. He had a fever, his little face flushed red, a cooling patch on his forehead. I sat at the bedside, holding his hand. Oddly, as soon as I touched him, he quieted down. He gripped my hand tightly, muttering, "Mom, don't go, don't leave Hao Hao." I looked at his face, which was 7 parts like mine, and my heart was a mess. I wiped his sweat, gave him water, and hummed the lullaby I used to sing to him. But I kept reminding myself, this is just a job, just for the money. As dawn approached, Zhou Hao's fever finally broke. I pulled my hand away, preparing to leave. Zhou Hao suddenly opened his eyes and looked at me. "Mom," I interrupted him. "The service is over. If you still want me to stay, your dad has to pay for it." Zhou Hao's attachment shattered in an instant. He turned over and pulled the blanket over his head. "Get out." I shrugged and walked out. As I stepped out, I ran into Zhou Yan, who had been waiting by the door. He looked at me, his gaze full of complexity. "Shen Qing, are you done acting?" "Acting?" I asked, confused. "Mr. Zhou, what part of my service wasn't up to par? You still love him. You still love me." Zhou Yan's voice was hoarse. "Why pretend to be so cold? If it's for money, I can give you my card. I can give you the properties in my name. Just return to who you were." I couldn't help but laugh. "Zhou Yan, you really overestimate yourself." I walked up to him and stared directly into his eyes. "I used to love you, so I could tolerate your mom's torment, tolerate your emotional abuse, because I had love, and love made me strong. But now, love is gone. A marriage without love is just a transaction. Since it's a transaction, we have to talk about money. Feelings? That's a different price. And you can't afford it." A month later, Zhou Yan's birthday party. Normally, I wouldn't have the right to attend, but Lin Wanyu insisted on causing trouble, suggesting we hold it at home and specifically asking me to help. Basically, she wanted me to embarrass myself in front of all the family and friends, to serve drinks like a servant. Zhou Yan agreed. He probably wanted to see if I could maintain my damn calm in such a situation. That night, the banquet was dazzling. I wore a maid's uniform, walking through the crowd with a tray. I used to be the lady of the house. Now I was the servant. Those friends who once flattered me now clustered around Lin Wanyu, dismissing me. "Isn't this Miss Shen? How did you fall so low? I heard you sold your dignity for money and came back to be your ex-husband's maid. How embarrassing." The mocking voices were relentless. I smiled, ignoring them. Lin Wanyu hooked her arm around Zhou Yan's, walking over to me and intentionally tilted her wine glass. The red liquid splashed all over me. "Oops, sorry," she repeated her old trick, dramatically. "Sister, are you okay? Look at me, I'm so clumsy." Laughter erupted around us. Zhou Yan stood by, watching coldly. He was waiting. Waiting for me to explode, waiting for me to cry, waiting for me to lose composure. Everyone was waiting. I looked down at my wine-stained uniform. This uniform was rented, with a $500 deposit. The wine stain probably wouldn't come out. I took a deep breath and looked up, my smile still in place. "It's okay." I pulled out my phone. "The deposit for this uniform is $500, dry cleaning fee $100. When Miss Lin spilled the wine, it also stained my shoes, so shoe cleaning is $50. Furthermore, public humiliation is considered emotional abuse, so the emotional damage fee is $2,000. Miss Lin, that's a total of $2,600. You're Mr. Zhou's companion, so should I bill you, or should Mr. Zhou pay?" The room fell into a deathly silence. Everyone stared at me as if I were a monster. Lin Wanyu's smile froze. She didn't expect me to still be calculating when I was like this. "Shen Qing, are you crazy?" Lin Wanyu screamed. "Give me the money." I stubbornly held out my payment code. Zhou Yan finally couldn't take it anymore. He grabbed my wrist, squeezing so hard it felt like he was going to crush my bones. Enough. He dragged me out of the banquet hall, all the way up to the second-floor bedroom. The door slammed shut. His eyes were bloodshot, as if he were about to eat me alive. "Shen Qing, is money really all you care about? For money, you'll let people step on your face?" I calmly straightened my disheveled clothes. "Zhou Yan, dignity is a luxury for the rich. The poor aren't entitled to it." I looked at him. Being drenched in wine is nothing compared to not having food tomorrow. If you think I'm embarrassing you, you can pay me extra to leave. Exit fee. 5,000. I'll vanish immediately. Money, money, money. You only care about money. Joe Yan completely lost it. His eyes were red, filled with fury and despair. Since you love money so much, then I'll buy you. Tonight, you're mine. I didn't resist. Resisting was meaningless, and it could hurt, which would cost more for medical fees. I just coldly counted during his movements. Sleep fee, 10,000. No protection, 5,000 more. Birth control pills, 200. If you want to stay overnight, there's also a loss of income fee. Joe Yan froze. He looked at my emotionless eyes, as if a bucket of cold water had been thrown over him. He didn't understand why, at this moment, I was still counting money. His anger slowly turned to despair. Shen Qing. His voice trembled. Do you really not love me anymore? I stared at the crystal chandelier on the ceiling. It was bright, blinding. Joe Yan, I whispered. 3 years ago, the day the Shen family went bankrupt and my dad jumped off the building, I called you 20 times. You were celebrating Lin Wan Yu's birthday. Joe Yan stiffened. That day, I was in the hospital, begging the doctor not to pull the plug, but I had no money. I begged you. I told you if you lent me 500,000, I'd spend my whole life repaying you. What did you say? You said I was faking it, trying to stop you from divorcing. Later, my mom got sick too. Cancer. I sold all my jewelry, sold my dignity, and kneeled to beg relatives for money. That was when I realized, love can't save lives, but money can. So, Joe Yan, don't ask me whether I love you. Love died the moment you hung up on those 20 calls. I only love money now, because money won't betray me. Money can save my mom's life. Joe Yan's face turned pale as paper. He opened his mouth, as if he wanted to explain something, but in the end, nothing came out. He collapsed to the side, as if all his strength had been drained. Ding! My phone buzzed. It was a payment reminder from the hospital. I glanced at it, sat up, and straightened my clothes. Mr. Joe, the time cost from earlier has been accounted for. I'll give you a discount. 5,000. Transfer it. Joe Yan didn't move. After a long time, he picked up his phone and transferred $1 million. Take it. His voice was hoarse. Pay off the debt. Let me know if it's not enough. I looked at the zeros. The first time I smiled at him genuinely. Thanks, boss. I took the $1 million and immediately went to the hospital. I paid the overdue medical bills and prepaid 6 months' worth of treatment for my mom. She lay on the bed, skin and bones, but when she saw me, she still tried to smile. Xiao Qing, I'm sorry for dragging you down. What are you saying, Mom? I peeled an apple for her. As long as you're alive, I have a home. If you're gone, I'll be a lost soul. I didn't know when Joe Yan had followed me. He stood at the door of the ward, watching through the glass. Watching me feed my mom, wipe her down, tell jokes to make her laugh. This was the me he had never seen at home. Lively, gentle, full of life. When I came out, he was leaning against the wall, cigarette butts scattered on the floor. Why didn't you tell me? He asked. Tell you what? I countered. Tell you my mom is dying? If I told you, maybe you would have pity on me? I smiled. Joe Yan, back then, we were getting a divorce. Lin Wan Yu was pregnant with your child, trying to force me out. Tell you? What good would it have done except to make you laugh? Mentioning that child, Joe Yan's face changed. That was the lie Lin Wan Yu made up to climb the ranks. It was later miscarried, and she blamed me, saying I pushed her. That was also the reason Joe Yan despised me so much and kicked me out of the house. That child. Joe Yan seemed to want to say something. Let the past go. I interrupted him. Mr. Joe, since you've seen it, I won't hide it anymore. I came back for a divorce to make money for my mom's treatment. When I've earned enough, or if my mom is gone, I'll leave. Joe Yan grabbed my shoulders hard. Leave? Where will you go? I don't know. I shrugged. The world is so big. There must be places where you can live without needing love. After that day, Joe Yan changed. He no longer intentionally made things difficult for me, and he stopped letting Lin Wan Yu come to the house. He even started doing housework voluntarily, though he always made things worse. He gave me his paycheck card, saying I could spend it however I wanted. I refused. I don't take unearned money. It's too hot to handle. I declined. I only take what I deserve. Joe Yan had no choice but to find other ways to give me money. For example, he'd purposely dirty his clothes and ask me to wash them, offering a high laundry fee. Or he'd say he wanted to eat a difficult-to-make dish and offer a high chef fee. He even wanted to pay me for parental interaction when he had Joe How talk to me. Joe How changed too. Ever since I stopped scolding and hitting him that day, it seemed like he suddenly became enlightened. Once, he heard people talking bad about me at school, and he immediately rushed up and got into a fight. The next time I went to school, he didn't hide. Instead, he stood in front of me and loudly said, "This is my mom. She works so hard to make money and save grandma. If anyone dares to mock her, I'll fight them." Apparently, the conversation I had outside the hospital room with Joe Yan was overheard by Joe How. I looked at the small figure blocking me, and my eyes suddenly welled up. But I held back. On the way home, Joe How awkwardly grabbed my hand. "Mom, I have some pocket money. I'll give it to you. Please don't leave, okay?" He pulled out a handful of crumpled change, some $100 bills, some $10 bills, and coins. "Both Dad and I make money. We'll take care of you and Grandma." I looked at the handful of money, and the hardest part of my heart cracked open. But I knew, some cracks can't be fixed with money. During this time, Lin Wan Yu sensed the growing distance between Zhou Yan and Zhou Hao. She also felt the subtle shift in my position in the family. She started to panic. One day, while Zhou Yan was away, she came over and made a scene at the house. She slammed a pregnancy test result on the table. "Shen Qing, I'm pregnant. This time it's real. It's Ah Yan's child." My mother-in-law immediately became overjoyed, treating Lin Wan Yu like a queen. "Oh my big grandson. Sit down, sit down." She pointed at me. "You, go make bird's nest soup for Wan Yu." "Making bird's nest soup is fine." I stretched out my hand. "Processing fee, 200. You need to provide the bird's nest yourselves. I'm not responsible for buying it. I don't want to be accused of poisoning." Lin Wan Yu was shaking with anger. "Shen Qing, you're about to be kicked out, and yet you're still asking for money. As long as we're not divorced, I'm still an employee of this house." I calmly responded. "If you pay me, I'll work. If you don't, forget it." At that moment, Zhou Yan came home. As soon as he entered, Lin Wan Yu rushed at him, crying with tears streaming down her face, holding up the test result. Zhou Yan glanced at it and frowned. "Ah Yan, we're going to have a baby." Lin Wan Yu looked at him with hope. Zhou Yan sneered. "Baby? I've been sterilized for 3 years. Where's the baby coming from?" The whole room went silent. Lin Wan Yu froze. My mother-in-law froze. I was stunned for a moment. Sterilized? 3 years? That was just shortly after our divorce, wasn't it? "Wah, what did you say?" Lin Wan Yu's face turned pale. "I got sterilized 3 years ago. 1 child is enough for me." Zhou Yan looked at Lin Wan Yu with cold, sharp eyes. "So, this thing in your belly, is it asexual reproduction?" The lie was exposed, and Lin Wan Yu completely collapsed. She started throwing a tantrum, accusing Zhou Yan of deceiving her, claiming I framed her. Zhou Yan didn't waste any more words with her, calling security to throw her out. He also sent my mother-in-law back to the old house for reflection. Finally, the house became quiet. Zhou Yan looked at me with a hint of pleading in his eyes. "Dear, all the obstacles have been cleared. Can we start over?" I looked at him and shook my head. "Zhou Yan, don't you get it yet? I don't care whether Lin Wan Yu is pregnant. I don't care how your mom treats me, and I don't care whether you're sterilized or not. Because I don't care about you anymore. In these 2 months, I've earned enough for my mom's surgery and paid off most of our debts. Our contract is over." I took out a divorce agreement from my bag. It was something I had prepared long ago. I had already signed it. In the property division section, I wrote, "Forfeit. I only wanted the salary and service fees you paid me in these 2 months." Zhou Yan looked at the agreement, his hands trembling. "Shen Qing, don't go, please. I beg you." This proud man, for the first time in front of me, had tears in his eyes, lowering his head. "I was wrong. I really was wrong. I used to be a jerk. I was blind. Please give me a chance to make it up to you, okay?" "Make it up?" I laughed. "How will you make it up? Can you bring my dad back to life? Can you cure my mom's cancer? Can you erase the suffering I endured on that snowy night when I wandered alone?" "Zhou Yan, your late love is lighter than grass. I don't need your love. I only need money. Now that I've earned enough money, it's time for me to clock out." I shoved the agreement into his hand and turned to go upstairs to pack my things. Actually, there wasn't much to pack. I arrived empty-handed, and I only needed to take a few old clothes with me. Zhou Hao stood at the door, crying his eyes out. "Mom, don't go." I squatted down and hugged him. "Hao, take care of yourself." Your dad has money. You'll live a good life in the future. I don't want money. I want my mom, but mom needs money. I wiped his tears. Mom is going to live her own life now. If you miss me, never mind. Don't think about it. I steeled myself, grabbed my suitcase, and went downstairs. Joe Yan stood in the doorway, like a statue. Move, I said. He didn't. He stared at me intensely. Unless you kill me, Mr. Joe, I sighed. Illegal detention is a crime. Do you want me to call the police, or should I charge you for my lost time by the minute? Joe Yan closed his eyes in pain. He knew that no matter what he said or did, he couldn't undo the heart that had already cooled. In the end, he moved aside and cleared the way. I didn't look back, just walked out confidently. At that moment, I felt a freedom I had never felt before. 5 years later, I opened a flower shop in a small town in the south. Mom's surgery was a success, though she's still weak. She's alive, and now she helps me trim flowers and soak up some sun every day. I haven't remarried, and I haven't dated. I really enjoy my current life. Every day I earn money, save money, and watch the numbers in my bank account grow. That feeling of security is something no man could ever give me. I heard that Joe Yan has been looking for me. He's posted missing person notices all over the world, even offering a $10 million reward. But I've never contacted him. Until one day, a special customer came to my shop. A little boy, carrying a school bag, stood at the door, looking at me. He's grown, he's handsome, and his face is all Joe Yan. It's Joe Hao. Behind him was a black luxury car. Joe Yan stood next to the car, watching me, but not daring to approach. He had aged a lot, with gray hair at his temples. Joe Hao walked into the shop, took out a black card, and placed it on the counter. Boss, buy flowers. I looked at him and smiled. What kind of flowers do you want? Flowers that can make someone change their mind. There are no such flowers. I shook my head. My shop only has forget-me-nots. Joe Hao's eyes turned red. Mom, we've been looking for you for 5 years. I know. Dad handed the company over to the professional manager. He said if you don't come back, he'll keep searching until he dies. I looked at Joe Yan outside the door. He was also looking at me, with careful and humble pleading in his eyes. I sighed. How, take your dad back. What about you? I pointed to the room full of flowers. This is my life. I have money, flowers, and my mom. I'm happy. This happiness doesn't need anyone to give it to me, and I don't need to beg anyone for it. Joe Yan seemed to hear my words. He staggered, and finally didn't dare to walk in. He knew that the Shen Qing who used to be full of love for him, had already died in that hopeless wait. Now, the Shen Qing only loved herself, and money. And this was the result Joe Yan had created with his own hands.